So we're going to use what is known as the if command. Again, this is now C#. This is now the language, not HTML. Now the if command simply allows you to determine if something is true or false. Okay? So with programming, programming is pure logic. So I know that some people say, boy, I can't reason logically and so on, but you do, because the truth of the matter is that we have to deal with logic every day. For those persons who are mathematicians, you know that, right? Life is logic. Life is logical. Okay? If I say to you, boy, if today is Sunday, then we'll have class. Otherwise, there won't be any class. That's logic. Right? If it's night, then it's time to go to sleep. That's logic, you know? So it's pretty much just like that, all right? So in this case, we are simply saying if page dot is post back, all right? So the term that they use for reloading the page is that there was a post back, which means that what happened is that a post was sent back to the server. You know, we won't get into the technicality of that, but just think of it like this, right? The page load method allows you to check to see if there is a post back or if the page is loading for the first time, right? So if this is false, right, meaning that it's not a post back, it's not reloading, but it's loading for the first time, then you want to do these things. You want to just initialize these things to 0, okay? That's the first set of code I'm going to put in. All right? Now, what else do we want to add, okay? The next thing we want to add is want to do some simple things. All right? So let me copy these lines. Of course, I know some people are seeing some things they've never seen from the previous class. And you must be questioning it, but that's good. So let me switch now to this. And inside my button method, so let's talk about methods, right? With C#, you have what you call namespace, class, methods. A method is inside of a class is inside of a namespace. Okay? And it's structured like that. A class normally is a single file, right? Meaning that you'll see here form calculator.aspx.cs. Okay? That's a file by itself. You know, normally we create a document, same thing, right? But a namespace will be used to pretty much group a set of classes or files. So if all my files are using the namespace web forms, then it means that all those files belong to the namespace, this particular namespace group or grouping, okay? So my method now is contained within my file, and the methods are really where the actions are taking place, okay? So in your method is really where you write the code to perform the actions, all right? You have what you call objects. So my text box here actually represent the objects that I'm using on my form. So if I go to form calculator.aspx, you find out that this text box here, you know that it says text box 2. So the name of this object is text box 2. Now if I switch back to my code, each object has what is known as what? Properties. Okay? For example, each of us has what? Characteristics. Okay? Same thing. Alright? Your characteristics are used to describe who you are. The properties of an object are used to do what? Describe the object. You understand? So for example, the text property here for this object presently has what? 0.00. right, as its value. So notice that a property must have a what? A value. Make sense? Right? So if I were to say to you, you know, what language you speak, for example, then language in this context would be a property. Right? And what would be the value? For example, the value would be what? So let me ask it again. If I were to ask you, okay, what's your language? Let me say, all right, what's your language? Or native language, right? Then the language there is a property. And the answer would be what? English, right? English. So English would represent the value for that property. Okay? So that's it. However, a property will have value that can change from time to time. So right now, this value is 0.00. Now, let's jump down to this method. Now, this is a button click method. Now, not only is this method a method, but it is also called an event method, which means that this method will always respond to a certain event. Make sense? Right? Make sense? Coming together? This method will always respond to a certain event. Alright? And the event is every time you click button 1 object, this method will be executed. Okay? It will run, and I'm going to show you that. So let's throw some code inside here. Alright, the code I'm going to grab here is this code here. Let me switch to there. I'm going to throw it there. I'm going to say Control S. And I'm seeing here calculate a model, add, blah, 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 and so on. That's fine. Okay, now I'm going to comment on that. I'm going to uncomment this. I'm going to save that because I want to test this first of all so we can see it work. And then we're going to look at that calculator model that we're using. Alright? So let me run this code here. Alright, let me run this code here and test it if it runs. So we're going to run it for the first time for this class, of course, to see if it works. Alright? We're trying to add two numbers. Okay? Plain and simple. Alright? So 1145. We need to jump. Alright, so let me put in 21. And I'm going to put in here 34. And I'm going to click equal. Alright? And what happened? Alright, so nothing happens here. There's a reason for that. Alright, so 21 that. Now the add selection here means that we're adding. Alright, so let me go back out now to my code. Alright, and see what may be causing that from happening. So let's look and see what's happening here. No, not the calculator, but I'm going to tell you what's happening. If you look at this code here, guess what? We are producing a result, but we are not assigning that result to the label that is to be used to display the result. Okay? So it's that we process it, but we are not outputting it. You understand? So you can process, but you don't output. Okay? So inside here, all we are doing is processing. Now, let's look at the code before we go any further. In those text boxes here, when you type in them, it really accepts just text. But for us to calculate, we must use what? Numerical values, right? Make sense? So in order for us to get numerical values to calculate, we have to do what is known as conversion. So in order for us to convert, we're going to now need to use the convert command and convert it. So here we have num1 being the result of our conversion for text box 2 and for text box 3. Now, I'm going to switch back to my code here, right? And I'm going to grab this here. Let me grab this here, which is the label, right? And I'm going to now switch to here, and I'm going to put this here, alright? So let's do that. Okay, I want to also generate an error so you can see what what can cause error. All right, let's right click here. Okay. All right, it's coming up. Okay. All right. Again, I'm kind of going over this because I know that there are persons who are still having questions, but I'm going to be moving a little bit faster in the interest of time. So we have 21 and 32. Let's see if we get a result there, and the result is 53. All right? So that's my answer. Now, let's jump into some new stuff. All right? So here we have a calculator with the code. We have the code that actually add two numbers. But what if I change this to L? I change from 21 to 2L, right? Let's see what will happen. Crashes, right? Because there is no validation. So, how do we go about validating our input to make sure that if the user enters an incorrect input, the program does not crash? By the way, have you ever gone on a website or using a program and it crashes? Have you had that experience? Eh? And what do you say? You don't know programming, but you still start cursing the people who write the program that they don't know what they are doing, right? And how comes you, what kind of program is this and so on, right? Because really and truly, you're not expecting it to crash. You're not expecting it not to work, okay? So, how do we fix this problem? Now, let's jump into some validation. Alright, so we're going to jump into some validation. Alright, I'm going to grab some code, some validation code. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to now create a validation check, but we need what is known as a helper class to do this validation check, right? Now, I am not creating the calculator service this week because we did it last week. I'm going to focus on validation. So I'm going to create a helper class. So let's switch to here, and I'm going to create a form. I'm going to create something called helpers, another folder. All right. So I'm going to create a folder called helpers. Okay. So you have what you call helper classes. These are classes that you use to help you to do different things, and so forth. So my helper class, what do I want to name it? I'm going to call it calc helper. Alright, so let me do that. So I'm going to say add new class. So notice now I'm adding a class. Alright, and a class is really where you can now add functionalities and features and behaviors to perform certain tasks. Okay, so right click, add, and I'm going to go all the way down to where it says class, right? And I'm going to name this class CLAC helper. Okay? Alright? So all the helping functionalities that I need, I'm going to add it to this class. Alright? So the first one I want to add is the what we call isNumeric. So I'm going to add a method called isNumeric, which means that what? For every input that the user makes, we're going to check to see if that input is what? Is a numeric value, okay? Or is a valid numeric, value. So let me copy that. Control C. Alright, switch back to here. And I'm going to save that, right? Control S. Okay? Now, switch back to here. You have what you call constants. Okay? Where's my helper class? Okay, you have what you call constant. Now let's go through this class a little. Alright? Any questions at this point? Any question? Do you have any question for me? Any question? Anybody? Okay. Alright, let's look at this class. Alright, so this particular class has what is known as a private constant field called numVal. Inside numVal, we are storing 0 to 9 and a decimal point, right?